Welcome to Nerdy Fiction Fights. Today, we plunge into one epic fight between two legendary icons coming from different universes, Iron Man and Darth Vader. On one side, Tony Stark is wearing advanced armor and is a strategic expert who brings a range of advanced weaponry and unmatched agility. So, on one corner, you got Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, who's probably packing his most advanced suit of armor yet. On the other, you have this dark side-driven monster using a deadly lightsaber and access to crushing opponents from afar. Which has the ultimate advantage? Tony Stark's technology or Darth Vader's dark power? The origin story of Tony Stark, a weapons manufacturer, starts from when he is captured by terrorists. Forced to make a weapon, Stark created his first armor instead, which would later become Iron Man. This twist ignited an urge and passion to build armor for safeguarding other people and create a variety of suits with advanced weaponry and defense. The abilities of Tony included the development of suits with everything from repulsor beams up to EMP blasts. He's gone toe-to-toe with superhumans, aliens, and powerful beings, always pushing his technology and intellect to the limit. Each new suit he uses gives him extra strength, agility, flight capabilities, and, most importantly, toughness to both bodily and energy-based attacks, able to survive nearly anything his enemies can throw at him. On the other hand, Darth Vader was a tragic turn from being the Jedi Anakin Skywalker into Sith Lord. Trained in the Jedi arts, he was already a gifted warrior even before turning to the dark side. However, after a fierce fight that left him with near-fatal injuries, he was rebuilt into a cyborg, bound to life support within his black armor. This armor also sustains him and restrains him, as the dark side of the Force gives him powers that are nothing short of terror-inspiring. The Force grants him the abilities to choke and crush or even freeze opponents, while his skill with a lightsaber makes him a master of close combat. Vader has relentlessly pursued and defeated powerful Jedi, proving himself one of the deadliest warriors in the galaxy. While his armor restricts some of his movement, it allows him to be quite tough and survive blaster fire and explosions, and even some exposure to space. Having said that, concerning purely muscular power, he owes much to his iron suit. In armor, the strength of Stark allows him to manage more than 100 tons. His strength is completely comparable to that of the Hulk and Thor. Flight capacity gave him speed and agility, hence an advantage in dodging projectiles that come at great velocity and easily moving around in combat. His suit is highly resistant to missile strikes, energy shots, and the strongest superpowered melee blows. Such resistance can become a problem for Darth Vader because even with boosted physical strength, he stands nowhere near Iron Man's raw power. The strength, though, of Vader himself was legendary, and he overcame even the heaviest obstacles whenever the Force was with him. He has lifted enormous machinery, thrown full-grown opponents in previous combats, and downed spaceships using the Force. But in spite of all his strength, Vader's possible lack of agility may be one weakness because of his heavy armor and reliance on his mechanical limbs, which would be at the mercy of Iron Man's fast aerial movements. When it comes to weapons, Iron Man is a tech powerhouse. His armor is also equipped with an array of repulsor blasts, unibeams, and missiles, each designed to seriously destroy targets. The targeting systems are highly precise, allowing him to strike opponents with extreme accuracy. Iron Man's armor also includes advanced capabilities for defense, including shields that can absorb considerable force. His EMP weapon is next in line, capable of disabling electronics outside his person from a reasonable radius for a time. This would directly threaten Vader's life support systems, turning the tide of battle. Still, this advantage for Stark is complicated by Vader's ability to control technology with the Force. He redirected blaster fire, stopped several projectiles mid-air, and used the Force to disable devices. He does this and takes down Iron Man's tech-based attacks. Darth Vader is equipped with weapons and a combat style that gives him lethal abilities. His red lightsaber alone can cut through practically all metals. At close range, Vader's fighting style becomes relentless, with the principle of overwhelming and overpowering his enemies always in focus. His skills with the lightsaber are rivaled by barely any, as he is able to deflect even the most aggressive of attacks. First, a single well-placed strike with his lightsaber can compromise the integrity of Iron Man's suit if he is able to get close enough to deliver it. The second thing that could play in Vader's favor is his ability to use the Force. The Force gives him almost supernatural powers, allowing him to predict his opponent's moves and even freeze his enemy for brief intervals. That infamous force choke was able to bypass Iron Man's armor entirely, since Vader didn't have to have direct contact with his opponent's throat to exert his grip. A battle between Iron Man and Darth Vader would most likely begin at range, where Iron Man would capitalize on his missile launchers and repulsors, adding some long-range attacks. At this distance, Iron Man would have the greatest advantage, attacks which would give him control over the pace and space of the fight. Of course, these would prove to be quite easy for Vader to counter due to his skill with the Force. He could deflect Iron Man's repulsor beams with his lightsaber and even catch and redirect some projectiles in midair. It is Vader's powers of the Force which would permit him to close the gap, allowing the fight to be brought to close quarters, which is where his lightsaber would actually be effective. Because of proximity, Vader's lightsaber is highly dangerous to Iron Man. Highly resistant, most of those defenses would fall to a lightsaber, especially with repeated strikes or if thrust directly. However, against such a powerful foe, Stark has armed his suit with an array of countermeasures, including but not limited to thrusters for swift dodges and shockwave bursts that would force opponents back, making it very difficult for Vader to achieve a critical hit by requiring the Sith Lord to be on him every second. None could be more significant factors in that struggle than the use of EMPs and clearly the hacking capabilities of Iron Man. The knowledge of electronics that Stark possesses may enable him to briefly disable or even take control of machinery, perhaps serving as a trump card against Vader's life support armor. If Stark is able to take out Vader's suit, even temporarily, he may render the Sith Lord vulnerable. However, Vader's connection to the Force and his willpower have enabled him to function even when his mechanical systems fail, and he can sustain himself by using the Force when needed. Where an EMP attack would weaken him, it is not enough to give Iron Man any guarantee of victory over him. It is in this place that the Force itself would turn out to be one of the most unpredictable factors of this battle. The Force operates beyond traditional laws of physics, maybe even allowing Vader to fully counter Stark's technological defenses. For example, the fact that Vader could choke or crush from across the room provides an instant deadly threat to Iron Man, who couldn't be protected against such an attack by his armor. While Stark actually can do some evasive maneuverings, Vader could track his opponent through the Force and thus hardly let him get away. However, Vader is highly strategic and very good at predicting opponents' moves, which would make him a very dangerous competitor even for Iron Man with his advanced technology. The bottom line would boil down to a confrontation between Iron Man and Darth Vader, based on whether Stark's technology or Vader's mastery of the Force can overpower the opposite one. Iron Man's EMP and hacking abilities could provide an opening to disable Vader's suit for a decisive advantage. A well-timed EMP blast or a successful hack could immobilize Vader long enough to end the fight. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments who you think would come out on top in a face-off between Iron Man and Darth Vader.